Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neal Howard. Glad that you could join us today. When it comes to anxiety is an epidemic among all of us. None of us are immune. It covers all social boundaries. There's no one that can escape anxiety, stress, tension, anger, feelings of fear. Our guest in studio today is Dr. Johnny Kenley, returning to speak with us about anxiety. He's a certified energy therapist, an applied kinesiologist, and acupuncturist, as well as a physician specializing in physical medicine. He's also an author, the author of a brand new released book, as a matter of fact, released earlier just this month, September of 2015, Freedom from Anxiety, a revolutionary 10-minute process, returning clarity and ease to your life. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you very much for asking.
Thank you so much. When it comes to anxiety, there are many of us, most of our listeners are health professionals anyway, but maybe they don't even know that they're under as much stress as they actually are. What exactly is anxiety?
So anxiety is an emotion, and by its very definition, emotions are something that reside in your body. So if you were to look in a dictionary or Wikipedia or someplace like that, it would tell you that an emotion is a physiological response. Physiology implies the body, every part of your body. So your internal brain workings, your muscles, your bones, every hormone of your body. So anxiety is described as an emotion. But to further delineate that, anxiety is actually a shade of fear. We're doing one of two things as every day as we go about our existence. We're either operating in a direction towards fearing or a direction towards loving. So anxiety is a word that we use that describes which direction we're heading in. Anxiety is a shade of fear, a nuance of fear, so to speak.
You know, in many recovery programs, self-help books, it's a point is made of having to identify the source of a certain feeling, emotion, or action in order to address it and thereby alleviate it. Is the same true when we're speaking of anxiety? Do we need to find the root cause of anxiety in order to resolve it?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Now, there are a couple of exceptions to this, and two of the exceptions would be people that are diagnosed with psychotic disorders resulting from maybe tremendous physical abuse or tremendous sexual abuse. So, I mean, there are a degree of affective psychotic disorders where my particular process I developed called RAIN is not applicable. So what we're talking about here is general anxiety that I would say close to 100% of the people experience on a daily basis. The fear that we experience on a daily basis.
Your book, Freedom from Anxiety, talks about RAIN. You just mentioned RAIN. I believe it's an acronym, Resolving Emotional Issues Now.
Correct.
When it comes to anxiety, if I'm afraid of spiders, that is arachnophobia. And that fear of spiders is going to, come to fruition when I see a spider or I walk through a web and I'm wondering, is the spider on me? When I don't see that spider, am I still operating under that same anxiety? And, is a phobia the same as anxiety? And can RAIN, your specialized process, eliminate a phobia and not just an anxiety?
Right. So going backwards, yes is the answer to the last thing you asked. Phobia is just another word for fear. We have a fear. Now, you have to look at yourself. Is this fear of spiders, is that something that is predominant in your life? If you're working in a zoo, in an entomology building, and there's nothing but insects and spiders in there, having a fear of spiders may create a situation for you. The same as if you were a flight attendant and you had a fear of flying. So I may have a fear of pink elephants, but if I'm never come across a pink elephant, it's not going to have a tremendous effect on my life. But to give you an example of a snake phobia, which I like to demonstrate phobias on TV because they're easy to show on television. I was in Estonia last June, and there was a young woman that was a producer there, and she had a fear of snakes. Now, you and I might say, okay, I don't like snakes. fond of cobras, they could kill me. Why would I not fear them? She had this fear of snakes because in Estonia, one of their national hobbies is that as a family, they go out on the weekends and they hunt for mushrooms in this wood, and they're filled with snakes. So for 8 years, she's been unable to go out into the woods with her family. So she wanted to do this. Again, this was live TV. I had been told about this before. I had a picture of a cobra, a nice color picture. I held it up to her face from 10 feet away. She refused to look at it. We talked a little bit more about it. As she talked about the snake, she started sweating. And it was a really strong reaction to the snake.
Yes.
We went through the rain process, the 7-step process. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes later, I asked her, do you still have a fear of snakes? Yes, I'm afraid of snakes. I showed her the picture a couple feet away from her. No response. I said, okay, so I had a rubber snake with me. I handed the rubber snake to her, and I said, put this on your lap. Put it on her lap. I said, are you afraid of snakes? Yes, I'm afraid of snakes. But there was no anxiety, no fear, because she's still thinking it, but it's not there. Now, unbeknownst to me, one of the other cameramen had gone to Tallinn, the capital, and went to the zoo and got a baby python a couple hours before that because he knew I was going to be there. And he walks out from behind her, and he has a small python, like a 6-foot baby white python, and hands it to her and sits it on her lap. No response whatsoever. So it was fantastic.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And it's not coming back. That's the cool part of rain.
Now, she wasn't afraid of snakes there on the broadcast. And you're saying that 2 months later, the anxiety or the phobia did not return? Is this something, does she have to keep practicing rain?
No, not at all. Once rain changes the energy fields associated with whatever anxiety issue she has. Once it's changed sufficiently, then it's gone forever. And getting back to your original point where you talked about the source of something, I was not interested as to when she first became fearful of snakes. I didn't want to actually do psychoanalysis of her and talk about her Freudian ego and id and things like that. And when she was 1 month old, what was created that in her mind that she was afraid of snakes. All irrelevant. Point is that she was afraid of snakes, and she wanted to get rid of it. I didn't want to get rid of it.
She did.
If she wants to keep it, that's fine with me. If you want to keep your fear of public speaking, that's fine with me. No problem. If you want to get rid of it, there's a way to do it without Xanax, without Vicodin, without Cymbalta, and without months and years of therapy.
Now, you've been a physician for well over 25 years, lots of experience. What type of reception do you get from other healthcare professionals who may be totally involved in traditional medicine, unlike yourself, who, involved in a mixture of holistic medicine and traditional medicine? What type of response do you get when they've picked up a copy of your book or you're explaining rain in their presence?
Okay, so it's interesting. So you have a variety of people called psychiatrists that deal out drugs. This is their life. A person comes in with a problem, they give them a drug. You have a variety of people that are psychologists, licensed clinical social workers, counselors, that want to talk to people to find the source of why for months and years. Now, it's against both of their interests in order to have their patient or their client resolve that issue quickly. And I completely understand that. There's a group of energy psychologists that are psychologists and psychiatrists both that have been involved with various types of energy psychology over the last 16 years. These people, go forth and help people in one visit or 2 visits. Now, they're doing it to them. Rain is different. I'm teaching people how to do it for themselves. I'm not interested in somebody coming to me and me doing it to them. The whole goal of rain, the whole goal of my book explaining how to do this is so that you, Neal, every one of your listeners can go and do it for themselves. And when they do this, they know it. They don't think it, they know it.
Right. Now, Freedom from Anxiety, a revolutionary 10-minute process, returning clarity and ease to your life, recently released this year, as a matter of fact. where can we pick up a copy of that book?
Okay, the book is available on, like every other book, on Amazon.com. And there's a Kindle version as well, and there's going to be an audio version coming out shortly. It's being recorded as we speak. On my website, there's a lot of information about anxiety. It's called anxietysolutionsnow.com.
Okay.
And there's a lot of background information on there. There's a lot of information about the other things that I do, one-on-one coaching, business coaching, performance coaching, seminars and workshops, and some information about the book as well. That's anxietysolutionsnow.com.
Right. You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neal Howard, and we've been in studio today talking to Dr. and author Johnny Kenley, certified energy therapist, an applied kinesiologist, an acupuncturist, and a physician as well, specializing in physical medicine. He also holds an advanced degree in clinical nutrition. He's been interviewed all over the world on Russian, Estonian, Chinese, and African TV shows, as well as many radio programs and newspapers as well. He's held many positions, including a homelessness counselor and jail chaplain, and he's also the author of the book, Freedom from Anxiety, a revolutionary 10-minute process, returning clarity and ease to your life. And we've been here talking about anxiety and how it is not of the mind. Actually, it's a physical reaction to stressors, and talking about how to relieve those stressors without drugs and without years and years of continuous self-talk. It's been great having you here with us today, Dr. Kenley.
Thank you very much. That's a great summary. You did a great job.
Thank you so much. Transcripts and audio of this program are available at healthprofessionalradio.com.au and also at hpr.fm, and you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.